Well done, everyone, for being so organised this morning. It looks like everyone is online, which is great. Okay, so what I'll be doing is, obviously my name is Jessica. I work with the Maths Association, and all the teachers out there have been getting lots and lots of emails from me. So I thank you for your patience with that. And I thank you all for being willing to join in and do a virtual event very last minute. But as I said, we're very excited when we heard that at least you should be back at school and you can enjoy the day as a cohort rather than being in your individual homes. Makes the day that little bit more fun. And hopefully we'll be back on site next year for a girls in STEM in person, but we'll have to obviously see how that goes. But regardless, the day will pretty much run as it would have, but just rather obviously in your smaller groups. So we thank you for obviously joining us this morning, and hopefully we'll have a lovely, lovely day. What we will be doing with this Zoom, as you can note there on that screen, is the morning will be recorded. That's just because we love to have all the videos of our lovely speakers so that we can convince other people to speak in years to come. We can show them what obviously the other gorgeous ladies have done for us this year. When we do the panel, and obviously we've got the questions there and everything like that, they are recorded. We don't really use that for anything. We mainly just use the recording just to get the speeches of this morning. All right. So having a look here, we've obviously got a lot of help to obviously make this all work this morning. So we obviously really want to thank our sponsors. Obviously Ford has been amazing and really does help us a lot with this day. And we've got a lot of amazing speakers from all of our partners there as well as the things we'll be doing in the afternoon with Engineers Without Borders and Questacon. So how the day will run this morning is, obviously I'll give a bit of a welcome. Now I need to make an apology for our opening address for Dr. Amanda this morning, who unfortunately has had a bit of an emergency and can't make it with us. So the only thing that will be different this morning is that we just won't have that opening speaker, but everything else will run as is. So we'll have our expert panel with 5 ladies who will be speaking to us about their journey and how they ended up working in careers in STEM, and hopefully we'll give you a lot of different ideas and probably jobs you didn't even really know existed. We'll then have a morning tea break, and then after morning tea we'll come back where we have another quick speaker from Ford, and after that then we go right into our interactive discussion panel, and that will involve all of the expert speakers, including Jess from Ford, who will be speaking at 11 as well. Then what happens after that panel, and I'll go through about how we're going to work with that panel in a little bit. We've then got rotation 1. And what we've done is we've split the schools in half. Half of you will be doing Engineers Without Borders first, and the other half will be doing the Questacon activity. We then have lunch for half an hour, and then obviously you'll swap. So if you did Engineers Without Borders first, then you'll do Questacon and those kinds of things. So you'll each get to do each of the hands-on workshops. And then at 2:30, will be the end of whatever your last one was, and then we'll come back and just do a quick conclusion and thank you to everyone. So then the day should wrap up around 2:40. Everything goes well and all the technology holds in there. So your teachers, you guys don't need to know who's in where, but obviously, like I said, you've got your 2 hands-on, and your teachers in your schools will have been given your special Zoom links where you'll be going into each of those from 12:30 or 1:30. Sorry, 12 or 1:30. So in terms of our speakers that are on here this morning, we've obviously got lots of wonderful people for you to listen to. You might like to, it will depend when you've got obviously your time that you can ask your questions at 11:05. If there are speakers, obviously you're going to hear 5 different speakers this morning. You might want to write down their names, or you might want to write down any questions that you wanted to ask them. So that's obviously fine. Make sure that you obviously do that, and just make sure that your microphones are off. So obviously what will happen is up on the screen, they'll be having their slideshow that they are speaking to, and probably their name will be up on the front there. So when they have their little introduction about themselves, you can obviously write down their name, and then if there's any questions you wish to ask, and then at least you know the person that you can direct them to. because when we get into our panel, and I'll be asking you to ask any questions that you might have, that's obviously where you might need to say, I want to ask this certain person this question. So we'll need to know their name. If you've forgotten their names or anything like that, that's fine. You can obviously say, I'm so sorry, but I want to ask the third speaker, or I want to ask that lady who was the engineer for that company. That's fine. Okay, we're obviously very relaxed here. So make sure that if you've got any questions, that's fine. And if you can't remember names, we'll also work out who you wanted. That's easy. Don't worry about that. In terms of your videos, because at the moment you're not engaging or interacting or speaking, you can leave them on or off. We'd love to have them on if you're happy to, because then we can see you. But if you need to have them off, that's fine. We just ask that when you're talking, so when you're asking a question in the interactive panel, if you can turn them on, it's much more obviously easier for us if we can actually see you talking. And that's probably all from me. So like I said, it'll be a little bit different this morning just because we don't have our opening address from Dr. Amanda. We'll obviously be going right into our expert, the panel, rather than having her. So we've got a little bit more time up our sleeves in that if our speakers need to speak a little bit longer, they can. And just in case, by the time they're sharing their screens and everything like that.